What's not to get nervous about? It's most terrible.
Just wait a bit. Hopefully you can hear me. We'll just give it a few minutes for people to join. And then we'll talk about the current situation, what justifies it, and what my macro perspective is, and go through those scenarios as well. We'll talk about a few things related to Bitcoin specifically, and we'll talk about where to enter if you're going to leverage. And it's very close. If you look at my post, if I bring up my post, and where is it here? So where are we? Here we go. I did a post a few days ago, I think. Where is it? Not dominance. Yeah, so it's called a non-swing failure bottom. So here's a close-up scenario of that. So I'm looking at this area for a lot of reasons. It's got the Fibonacci, it's got the 10 and 20 moving average, it's got the volume profile, and this historical part. So this zone is likely to hold up, and this pattern fits into the daily cradle as well. And I don't think it will go lower than 40,300. If the whales want to play it a bit, put some fear into it, it might spike down to 39k. But I don't think it's going to really drop much from the current price. But this post has a few scenarios where, if we look at, we also have this scenario that's potentially taking place. So it supports it. There's a nice trend line there. That's what we're currently on. So let's have a look. Let's go on to the, I think, what was that one? That was 8 hour. So let's look at the 8 hour chart. And there's a few things I want to look at. Here we go. Let's just clean that up a bit. And over there, horizontal lines. And we can pretty much get rid of the moving averages if you want. Okay, so we've had that, and we've got the Fibonacci from the top to the bottom, from that top to swing low. And what are we looking at? We're looking at the 0.5 as a key resistance, or the 618 if it performs better. Pretty much standard approach. What I do see here right now, ever so small, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see the 5. There's a strong resistance level on the Fibonacci, so that could be it. Now, if we were to apply some standard methods, if that was the bottom, which could be, it could still slide down, and say that was the bottom there, and we put our Fibonacci there, and let's just undo the log for a sec. 48k is what I'm looking at. even here, which is what is it, 47,800. So using this fib from wave 3 to 4. Hold on, we haven't done that properly, have we? Okay, there we go. So at one point, so it's going to be one of these targets, right? If this is a wave 4 to 5, it's one of these Fibonacci's that are aligned with the 0.5 fib level, which is roughly 47,800. So that is my expectation that we got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very aligned with that. And then we can talk about what's likely to happen. But to me, this is a good spot for a trade. Good cradle entry. Now, this on the 8 hour. If we look on the daily, let me just clean that up. And we can also just move that away for a sec. So you can see that this is a bump and run strategy as well. Perfect. Now look at this. Levels of significance. If we were to get this dotted line, previous resistance, significant level, again, perfectly in that pocket. So yeah, if it breaks that, then definitely it's this one here. And that's a bearish one. But you can see this has got a lot of confluence, and yeah, that might push it down a bit, but I doubt it. So that's why I'm saying this is the pocket. And we're finding a fair bit of support. Who knows what the whales will do, but this is a good spot to buy. And is it ready right now? Nah. You can see how long it took in some cases where it takes a few candles and we're early. So if we start seeing this going like this, I see that going up. We'll find some resistance here, come back down, and potentially make our way up. Not higher than that, sorry. Up to there, and then back down. Give me a sec while I look at my notes. Where are we? Yeah, so if we were to get a double top, it's potentially could come back down here to this level and then go up. So we have that scenario as well. So what we've seen is lately with Bitcoin, a lot of the times, we've bloody trade in the range. So if we look at closely, and I'll just move in close, there's a few scenarios, but definitely that's got to come down a bit. So if we get in close, I'm just getting close so we can talk about it. You can see these green candles ever so finding support, and this is the inverted bar, the retest, and yeah, sure, roughly there. Come back, maybe one more test before it goes up. Okay, so it can come down to this level, but when we do, and this is a few of the tools that we have, when we do the volume profile for this little area, we can use that as a perfect means. You can see how that lines up with the volume there. And if we're to do the volume profile here, let's do that there. You can see that that's pretty much aligned to there. So we are touching that one there, where the maximum volume is. And if this doesn't hold, then this volume is where I see it coming down. If there's a rejection, you might just push it down a bit more, and then we'll go up. And yeah, I think wave 5 is there. And the way it's likely to do is, so if we come down here, if we get a decisive break above this level, then that's a good retest to go up. So, normally what happens is you have these formations where you go, it's zigzags, right? Down. So once we hit there, I expect it to come back down. Where do I expect it to come down? So we might overperform a bit, maybe even up to that level there, close to 50K. And in my mind, if as time comes by, like we can have some sort of wedge, really. If this was to continue on, yep, that could be a perfect wedge for shorting and coming all the way back down. Now, where do I see this coming back down to? All right, let's have a look at that. So it's going to be a good opportunity to trade, and just Bitcoin itself. I won't talk about the alts. And if that was some sort of wedge, if this was a wedge, this is perfect. So then we have something like, yep. So if this is our A, and you guys go and look at the Elliott wave formations, C, D, potentially E. With wedges, you tend to have a few scenarios where price hits that line, then goes up. And what we have is two possible scenarios: is one overperforms and then dumps, in the other one just breaks, and then finds as resistance and then comes down. So I'm looking for that situation eventually to short. This is a likely. The other possibility is where we get a head and shot double head. So if this was not double head, double top, or that could be the left shoulder. We're going to have the head and the right shoulder, and then the neckline before it drops down. So there's three scenarios I'm looking at: an ascending wedge, a double top, or head and shoulders before we come down in this facility. So just keep that in mind. There's no definite way to predict that right now, but what I'm confident is that we have that resistance support there, and so we're gonna struggle to get past it, and we're gonna find this strong support. And now this area, I'm putting lines. That's one way of doing it. But if I was to enable the moving averages, so let's go back up. Let's have convince you that that's a good spot. Let's go to what we know, and you should know this, is the weekly 10 and 20 moving average. So let's look at, I'm going to bring up the dailies first. That's the daily 10 moving average. No, that's a 20, sorry. I didn't want that one. EMA I'm looking for. Give me a sec. Why is it white? Interesting. Let's bring out first one is this, the 7. The 7 weekly moving average. We can see that it's played a lot of historical resistance and support. So I like the 7. And you can see at the moment, it was playing a role, and it's right there at the moment. So the 7 is pretty important. Then we have, let's see, that's the 50 EMA on the daily. So you can see that's got a lot of confluence as well. Yep, acting as support. Once we break above it, it became support, and we drop below it, so it's going to become resistance. That's the 50. Just make it a different color. I'd like to get rid of that line. Where's my 10 and 20? Here we go. That's the 10 moving average on the daily, and you can see at times it played its role, and it's right there at the moment. And what have we got? We've got 20. and the 20. So now, remember I was talking about that range? Look, we've got the 50, we've got the 10, and we've got the 20. All confluent with this significant level. So the fact that we broke above it decisively is the benefit for us to use this as support. So I can potentially see the 20 being used as the support, and the 10. The 10 is currently taking place, and the 50 is probably acting as resistance at the moment. So you can see, besides the lines of historical relevance or the historical price action, we actually have the moving averages playing a role. Here we can see the 50 playing resistance all the way down, and we broke above it. And what tends to happen whenever you have a level and price acts around that, especially if it's an ascending one, and you see price below it, price playing around with a level, eventually it will go above. It's weak. It's basically weakening that level, and when the level's weakened, price tends to go up or down. But yeah, so this is a good level for if you've got funds, finding the leverage and the perfect right spot. Well, if it comes down a bit lower, I would say you got less risk and definitely go in. So that's what I'm planning to do. I'm not going there any time soon, unless I see something change drastically with the candlesticks. Now, on the daily, if we do this, and if I were just to clean that up, let's just look at this. You can see perfect cradle setup on the 10 and 20. So that's looking good. If this candle closes like that, we've got another 10 hours. That's a good signal for an entry. And if I was to undo that, let's see what we've got. I've got another chart. Let's have another chart there. So here's what here's my other chart where I've pretty much played with it, and you can see that's the major resistance. And if we were ever to be fortunate to get that high, I doubt it. This is definitely coming down, and I'll explain more as to, I did explain in the past why I'm bearish. There's a few reasons. Well, I don't think we'll pass that, but at this point, like I said, the key level is the 0.5, and which is about 48k. So I'm looking to exit on the 48k with the reasons I've given. In the short term, if we look at this right now, actually, let me just save this. And what I want to do is just show you the other aspect. Okay, we'll pick the index. Okay, there was a line there. I don't know where that came from, but that's another reason. Obviously, I got it from somewhere, right? Okay, so there you go. There's another reason that's going to be a good support line. Bit of a trend line. Yeah, so that, again, from another perspective, right? So look at the daily. And let's look at the Fibonacci levels. You can see why that was rejection. Ideally, we can go all the way up, and let's just put, I've got to change this template. That's why I'm expecting it to go. On the daily, we've got the 10 and 20 moving average. As historically, it's always been the case where support, and the moment if it crosses over, that's bearish on the daily, first sign. And what we have, another perspective of a target, is doing this: swing high, swing low, and if that's the level, again, 0.5 to the 0.618 is potentially another way of working it out, of another target. So there's no definites, but that's again within the range of resistance, and might overperform with the 0.5. So as time comes by, and now let's look at the indicators. Okay, so that's from the MACD perspective, everyone's confluent, and the fact that this could nicely, see how that's going, that's a touch, and then up it goes. So from a MACD perspective, it's looking good. From my Phoenix indicator, not mine, but someone else's, but I use it. You can see we've still got a long way down, a lot to do to go all the way down to be bearish. Yeah, this red RSI needs to go below 50% to even consider a deep drop. So that from that perspective, everything's looking good. What I am bearish from a weekly perspective, and let's just do that. Actually, I was looking at the 4-day. Give me that. Give me a sec. 4-day. I'm looking for the 4-day a bit earlier, this MACD to cross over. It hasn't quite done that yet. You can see that historically, like a bullish candle will do it. So if there's a bullish candle here on a 4-day, it will do it. And you can see that that's being bullish, and that's me entering confirmation to go in there. And obviously, here's the issue I have with the weekly. So what we had, we got this line. And what we also have, from the RSI perspective, we've got this. Here's a 50%. And what I said was roughly, if I was to do that, remember? This is what we've got to watch. This is the midpoint. If the RSI hits that, we've got to keep an eye on it, and rejection. If it goes above that, that's bullish. All right. This level, I think it coincides with the 0.5. This level coincides with this 0.618. That's my thinking. And to go bullish, you expect that. So I don't expect that. I'm expecting this to come down. And it could be this level, or potentially capitulation, and so on. And what we've done, from my perspective, we've got this channel actually at the moment. Let's just hide those for a sec. That's potentially one. Where's the other one? Okay, that one there. We also have this. That's the channel. Yeah. And so what I'm expecting from a big picture perspective, and based on just some observations with indicators and other stuff, we don't have the same gust. Like, see these candles? We don't have that. We have weakness in this one. And so what I'm expecting is, I'll get rid of that line as well. What I'm expecting is a 0.5 at this point, and then coming down. And then, so here's the psychological ploy. It depends. Obviously, this could be like this right down here, for instance, right, and then go up. The accumulate. We know that this has been a accumulation. That's been accumulation. Ever so high, that could be accumulation. There is definitely a possibility. As soon as we drop that, if we drop that level, I do see going down to 24K. And here's a good way of measuring what the target will be. So if that was swing low to swing high, I do see 1 Fibonacci as the main target. And if it's going to get worse, then the 1.272 and these buggers here. But I think 1 is the target. And at the moment, if that, this is the assumption that this trend line is broken. So if that trend line breaks, let me just fix that up. I do see coming down. I had 24, 25K. So, and that was from another perspective. Let's see where I got that from last time. I think it was from here. Yeah, I think that was it, the 0.5. I can't recall how I got it, but that range, to me, is a good target. Actually reverse that. Yeah, still the same. So I'll look at it that way. Curry, Iraqi, clear, bullish. Okay. I don't know what curry Iraqi. I don't know what that means. But yeah, so that's the bigger picture perspective. I use these indicators. I will use this RSI, and like I showed you, the MACD will help. If there's a rejection on the 4-day one, if this doesn't cross over, then it's going to be earlier. This could go sideways. Now, I do have a few tools, also in conjunction looking at that. And I'll use the, where is it? Here we go. Right, so what I've been looking at lately, and this is the tether dominance. Let's just bring that down. You can see tether dominance does have, this is the key area where I think, and I've shared it with my group, this level here, whoops, that's not the color. So this level to me, if we go above it, so if this breaks above it, that's a bear market. If we go back down like this, fantastic. That means tether's being spent. So this is, now there's history here, and I've discussed in the last stream, and what we observed recently. So if I go in closely on the daily, actually I'll use this one here. Get the econometric cloud out of their way, and let's just do this for a sec. You can see we had a double bottom, and then that's why that was our Bitcoin rejection, and that's pretty much what took place. And now we're back up to this band. Historically, that band is here. So here we had history here where it acted as support and resistance and resistance. All right, that coincided with the US dollar. So if I was to get the other chart out, DXY, when was that day? I can't recall it. That's not the chart I wanted. SP500. Okay, let's just do this. So what we had recently was all over the place with the announcement of the inflation, CPI. We got the markets to go really crazy, and that's why Bitcoin did the same. So what we had was it spiked, went down, and when it went down, Bitcoin also went up, and then the dollar went up again, and Bitcoin dropped. So that coincided with this, unfortunately. So what happened here? That was it there. So what happened there, when the dollar went up, this dropped. And then when the dollar went down, this went up. And when the dollar went back up, Bitcoin went down. So it was nasty. and I was trying to trade it along this line, and I got stopped out here. Lucky, because it was too late. I went to bed. But anyway, that was very nasty, that wick with the US dollar. So if I was to bring that onto a small time frame, you can see. Actually, that is it pretty much. That was the reason why all this fluctuation happened, and it was very hard to work out which way to go, because it also affected the bigger markets as well. And you can see on the Nasdaq, it did the same fluctuation, and if you look at the SP 500 on the 4-hour, let's see how we go. It did the same, like the US, like Bitcoin. So it was too difficult to trade, and I got burnt. I lost on that a few leverage, but luckily I had my tight stop losses. But yeah, that was a nasty move there. Double top, and pretty much like Bitcoin, double top and down. So if you were in that trade, it's good to look at these things as well. But I generally use the tether to change my opinion in the big picture. At the moment, we can see, I do see this area as resistance, and I do see Bitcoin, US tether dropping. At the moment, I just see it slightly potentially dropping here, maybe go up a bit more and find that resistance before it drops down. That's aligned with Bitcoin, in my opinion, going up to wave 5. Where is it? This one? Yeah. So the tether sort of lines up slightly more down and then up. That's what I think. Just find, so if you got spot trade, just leverage in. Don't miss out. There was a few wicks there. That would have been a good spot. I'm looking for a leverage trade, so just looking for something more definite, and the daily might give it to me, and that's pretty much it. And let's see how we go with the SLP. Cadena, so Cadena's there, but okay. And that's SLP, finding the resistance there. So I did short that, or no, I didn't. I just missed out. But I did short, lucky enough. I had that trade here. Hold on. So I'm just focused on this one here, and it did a nice formation of a setup for short, which was pretty much. This is always a good opportunity to. That formation was always a good opportunity to short, and you can say that, yeah, that's a broadening wedge on the way up like that. This formation, getting that resistance there, was perfect. I took my chances. I actually shorted there, and I took profit along the way. Here I actually thought it was going to be another wedge like that and then drop, and then you can see how that just went up. Right now, I don't see how it's going to pass that. Yeah, there's a possibility, if this bloody works. There's that little possibility. I still see it coming down, and if Bitcoin goes up, I see this potentially doing a double top and then back down again, or up to this level here. So we got to be careful. But yeah, so when it comes to the alts, I'll stay away from it. Here is, you can see this. This is where I'll go long. If this was to go above, then I'll go along with RSI for a spot trade or leverage trade. Sorry, but I'm not really liking what's happening to the alts. I've got a few charts on the alts, and I think it's bear season for the alts, and pretty much they're going to, that was a nice move. For instance, Tron, I don't see it coming back, going above that. So I'll be looking to, if it comes back up here, I'll be looking to short it. Could be wrong, but that's my perspective at this point. And let's say Bitcoin dominance, where are we? Actually, one thing I want to check. There is the other tool that I can use to go bullish. Let's see, I don't know what that is. So what's this one? Okay. Total market cap. So look at the total market cap. And I did talk about it with our group. And so, yeah, there you go. At that, this has a lot of confluence with the story of Bitcoin. This is the 4 hour. Yeah, so we can see there was a massive trend line, sort of a broadening wedge. And that was a clear resistance on the 4 hour. On the bigger picture, you can see that was a 0.618. So the total market cap reflects what's going on. You can't go bullish until we break this trend line for the crypto. So right now, I have my A, B, C. That's pretty much, where's my D? Okay, that was ABC correction. Could do a double bottom before. So what we can do is, this could come down to do, so that's our D. E could be anywhere, and that's the problem. If we break this trend line for whatever reason, so we can go up there and back down, but this trend line is significant. So let's have a closer look at it. What I want to do is flip it around. Give me a sec. So the 0.618, if the total, so what we can potentially have, and you can see it ever so slightly, and I think Bitcoin is very similar to it as well, or we have this trend line, again, acting as resistance. You know, there is a slight possibility that, yeah, we break that trend line, and if we break that 0.618, the retest is a bullish sign, and that's basically left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and a bull market, right? Or we go down, double bottom. But that trend line has, so I've got two lines where I'm going to determine to go bullish with the alts and with Bitcoin. So that's another indicator. This in line with our US tether is a good indicator on how to go bullish. 0.618 is the golden ratio, and right now and if you look at my chart, you can, I suppose, copy it, and you can see that we had a nice rejection on the 1.272. So everything's lined up perfectly. The 1 was the resistance. Yep. And even on the way back down, you can see all these fib lines all played a role. So this is really well aligned, and therefore, I'm just wondering, so if that's the total market cap, do you think we're gonna go down that? You know, that's crazy. Back to, I can't see that happening, to tell the truth, but it's possible. But I just doesn't fit with the count. So if that was a previous bottom capitulation back in January, yep. So that was the Bitcoin really dump. Either it's going to be here or it's going to be here, right? So if we get a rejection or double bottom before we break that line, so I'm looking at these two scenarios, and I'll look at what Bitcoin's doing, and if it fits into my thoughts. But you can see this is a broadening wedge. Yep. Everything sort of fits into it, doesn't it? With the tether as well. So, and then I think that's going to be a real nice leverage spot. Just go long. The other thing is you need to look at the on-chain data to get another opinion, just to be sure. And now, if we look at this, let's see if this fits. That's my trend line. Let me just put the log on. No, that didn't help. So here we go. So that's, there we go. So if this, it could be the 0.382, right? That it's very possible. So I can do it quicker now. So we can potentially, so we've got a nice reference point. That's another one. So this could come down potentially. A bit of a rejection, come back down. And I'll need to change that because it's a log setting now. Just probably have to go wider. And we can just see that rejection and come back down. But anyway, that's just another thought. And if we were to lose that Fibonacci, then definitely the next one, double bottom, even further. But yeah, you can see how everything sort of fits into place. So what do we? Well, let me recap. We looked at Bitcoin, possible areas of entry. We looked at US Tether. We looked at the indicators with the RSI and MACD, and we got this total market cap. All, if they're all aligned so far, that gives a good case to know where your levels are to potentially enter. If you're not in cash, then you should get some cash, especially with this possible scenario where I said the 0.5 is, I would say take some profit. And if you join my group, which is, you can join for free, what is it, 10 days for free. You can track it, and it's very little to subscribe, and we discuss many things along the way. So if you've got questions in that, I'll always try to answer them. But yeah, these are all the things that we talk about, and many other things as well. We've got a nice small community. I'm trying to make it bigger, and if the headspace in our community fits your personality, then come along. So what you do is just go to, so what I do, this is the community. An example, what I do today, this is SLP. You know, we just talk about stuff, yeah, and trades pretty much. Tether, always discussing, just constant updates. Yep. So that was my Bitcoin shorting suggestion. Where are we? If you do a nice search, like I'll give an example. I think that was the one. No, that's not the one. Here we go. So I'm saying, look in the short. I'll give you pretty much an idea why, and that's what I said with SLP. Now, that was perfect trade. That's enough for you to justify joining our community. Yeah, you would have made a fair bit of money on that, and the end result was, that was pretty close. Yep, that was the entry level, and the end result is pretty much there. That was a nice entry all the way, and you ride it all the way down. That itself, one post, will justify joining our community. Where can you join our community? I think it's in the signature. Right there. Where is it? I think in any one of them you will see it. I think it's at the bottom. Yeah, there you go. There's a bot. Just click on that. Open. And you go with the full the prompts. Ooh, that's invalid. I think I got the wrong one. That's an old one. Okay, that probably explains why people aren't joining. All right, so this is the one. What I'll do is I'll put into the comments, and if you're interested, you could just double click, copy that, and where are we? I'll put in the communications there. That's the bot in the live chat. Anyway, so what I've done is looking at Bitcoin dominance. I posted this early today. You can see the 200 moving average, and you can see how that was a triangle, and we did a breakout. Now we're at a resistance on that 200 moving average. Perfect, very coincidental. I think that's going to be consolidation and the breakout to the 618 before we come down. So Bitcoin dominance, I think, is going to go up before it drops. I could be wrong. I could continue on. So, but that is a key level that we are. So let's have a look at that. Where is it? Which chart was it? Let me keep an eye on Bitcoin at the same time. Let's just have a closer look at this. Give me a sec. I'll get to Bitcoin dominance. Just so I want to look at this. I've got a few charts on this. There we are. That's the one. Okay, that looks like it's going to drop, actually. So we've got our level, and Bitcoin dominance is going to drop. So it could be possible that the alts are starting to move. But if that drops, I think it's also about to go off. So there's a few alts that might do well. And that makes sense because, if we go back, that one there, that's the dominance. And if you look at Bitcoin, it's going sideways, right? The fact that it's going sideways, it makes me think that the alts will kick in and that will weaken Bitcoin, and that's more of a reason. But if you look at a few of the alts, that's Ethereum, you can see just how these moving averages are perfect. Like, look, you can see how it's acting as resistance for Ethereum. And this one here, Theta, you can see how that's acting as support. Moving averages just makes sense. And Gala, so Gala dropped a bit and it's finding support on the 50 and the 10 moving average. And I'm sure if you look at it from a Fibonacci perspective, that will make sense as well. So that's pretty much it. If you've got any questions, shoot away. If you want me to look at any charts, let me know in the next few minutes, and I'll have a quick look. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up soon. If that's all you want with the Bitcoin strategy, that's pretty much it. If you came in late, I would be saying, just to recap, 4 hour. Yeah, so it doesn't look the best, does it? 4 hour candle is nothing strong, indecisive, which makes me believe that this level makes sense. This one here, which aligns with the 20 moving average. So it's very possible we just chip away at it and then drop, and then here range and then go up. That's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm gonna hopefully. Remember I said that line as well. That's still aligned with it. Here we go. So that's the bump and run strategy. It could slightly go lower, couldn't it? just a bit lower there, but it's aligned with the 20 moving average. And whoops, I shouldn't have done that. And if I was to just play the devil's advocate, just from there to there, 0.382 or the 0.5. There we go. I think the 0.382 is, so if I reverse this, give me a sec. Perfect, 618. So I think that's what's going to happen. This trend line is very difficult to make it perfect. The reason being is you got the wicks. It doesn't touch this one, but it does definitely get a rejection there and a support there. So this trend line is very hard to make it. This slightly goes lower, so this is possible that it could come down. And you know what? The 20 moving average might just come down as well as this goes sideways and comes down. So it still touches the 20 moving average on the daily. So it still fits, and that's a 10. And I think this is where it's likely. So that's our wave 3, and we're looking in wave 4 to go to wave 5, which is up there. So one of these buggers are wave 5. And then potentially a channel, yeah, and maybe down. That's what I'm thinking. All right, I see no one's got questions there. Let me see if there's anything on YouTube that the guys, if anyone's watching on YouTube, they might want to ask questions. I haven't looked at the comments in that section, so give me a sec while I look at that. See if there's any questions there. No. Oh, hold on, that's the wrong one there. Okay. No questions on YouTube. All right. So that's what I got. And I'm going to wrap it up. I've pretty much covered Bitcoin, and everything else pretty much follows Bitcoin. If you want to hang around for a bit more, I just might look at Ripple just for a sec and see what Ripple's doing, and then I'll finish it up. I think Ripple has a good story, but yeah, we're not going to be as. Actually, here's the last part, which I should have done it. So this is let me go to the daily. Right. What have we got? Got to add. Here's the other reason why I think it's a weak scenario. So if I go to the weekly, I think that should do it. Yeah. All right, here we go. Now you can see this is bearish divergence as well. So yeah. So previously here, see this run? So I'll change the color. This area, and we went up. Look at that level there, right? Eventually it became bearish divergence and it dropped. But look at the amplitude and the way it went up. Look at the current one, ever so small. Over here you can see, very powerful moves, and here you can see bearish divergence, and we've got that massive drop. Yeah, pretty much head and shoulders, and that hits the target. And so you got good indicators showing that there is bearish divergence. RSI is no different. Here, this was a bit more difficult. Drop, bounce, and then you can see once we go below zero, here's a capitulation, very similar range. So that's a good. We've got other indicators that will pretty much show you the same. But look, yep, that was a real capitulation, and so this weekly actually does a good job. And if you add the RSI indicator just to compare, you can do. As long as you're good at any indicator, that's good enough. And you can see with my RSI indicator, I've got a moving average, and every time with RSI, 50% is pretty important, and that was there. And you can see if we to move this up, actually the daily is probably better for this one. But yeah, you can see how low that's the COVID scenario. So the RSI is very low. Look at, even with bouncing, we're still pretty low. We haven't even passed the 50% level for a bullish trend. And until this RSI passes the 50% and this yellow line on the weekly, you can't go bullish. It doesn't make sense. So the indicators pretty much help as well. So on the daily, yep, daily is good. And that trend line, this massive trend line that was broken, fits perfectly with the RSI. I think it was like that. So you break the RSI, found the support, and back up 50%. Now we don't have, so it's confluent, and what tends to happen is once you hit a level like this, price, even the price pulls back, it tries to break past it again. All right, tries to hit it again, so we could get a double top, and that's why I'm saying you got to be careful. That's a good exit, good shorting position. There could be a bearish divergence as well in that space, so you got to keep an eye on it. So if this doesn't go, if this is like that, well, there you go, bearish divergence. Use the MACD, same similar situation. Now here's the other aspect. I do see this, that trend line there act as resistance as well. Just align it a bit better. There you go. So does that fit into our next scenario? Yes, it does. If that's a channel that does meet that level as well. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. No one's asking questions, and yeah, I'll leave that XRP another time. All right then, thanks guys. Please give me a like and share. Come and join our channel, and we'll enjoy your company. And if you can contribute, even better. We want to share trades so everyone benefits, and that'll be a good place to start. All right, have a good night. It's very late for me, and I'll talk to you soon. Come again. Cheers.